Hi and welcome to a new episode of Product Release Notes, where we present the latest updates and improvements in Omega 365.
Yes, and in today's episode we will be presenting fresh updates within activities, documents, meetings and contracts. So we'll start with activities. We have changed very much the layout of the activity. So when I click now and have a look at this activity, you can see instead of this splitters that we had before, where you had the different
split of
yes.
screen. Yeah.
Where presented various information. They are now organized in tab pages. So we have punch, setup, planning, related data, etc., as tab pages. A more cleaner and standardized layout, really. So we think that will improve the user experience. Okay, in documents there is an important update. We now have support for setting individual documents as confidential. Before we came with this update, it was only through document groups and org structure, org units, that you could decide who should have access, and of course combining with roles. And of course for the majority of documents you can use groups and org units and roles to control the access. But in some specific cases you have to go down to individual documents. Then you can flag it as confidential, and only those that are on the distribution list will be allowed to see that document.
Okay, great.
In meetings we have added support for adding checklists directly to a meeting agenda item. So here I can go to add and add checklist, and then it will appear on the right side here. So I have the checklist easily accessible.
Yeah.
And as we presented in our previous release notes, all these things that you can add are now available under here, and you can switch between what you want to see up here. And
the checklists are from the checklist library.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can reuse them.
Yeah. Also an improvement here in how this collapsing works. So if I click collapse now, I have this what's on the right
full
side
screen,
now on full screen, and that can be very practical in many cases if you don't have a really wide screen, for example.
Yeah.
This could be very useful. We have a new app, meeting overview, that by default shows all these meetings that are type of serial type.
Yep.
So it shows when these meetings are happening, and you can see here the week numbers, the months, and you can also choose show all meetings, and then it will take those individual meetings as well and show those. In contracts we have the concept, or we used to have the concept that to be able to issue forms like variation orders, you had to have permissions on that specific contract. So you had to be given the role on that specific contract. It wasn't enough to be like a contract administrator on the project level. You had to have the access directly on the contract. However, of course, in some cases it could be more practical to say that, okay, the contract administrator in this project are allowed to issue variation orders for all contracts. If you want to have that, you need to click on this one, can inherit capability for issuing. So if I turn this one on for this form, it means that it will inherit.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we are removing a feature. On the home page there's been for quite some time something called standalone actions that you didn't tie to anything specific.
Yeah.
That will now be removed. You will see that when you try to add an action, you will get this message that standalone actions are deprecated, will soon be removed.
Yep.
So if you have any actions there, make sure you move them to any of the other register, like workflows, for example. And if you need help to move it, you can of course get assistance from your support team.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, that was it.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.